Most people fail at consistency not because they're lazy, but because they're trying too hard. The harder you push, the more your brain resists. That's why discipline fades. That's why motivation disappears. And that's why big plans collapse. This is consistency made easy, where real change happens one small step at a time. You've tried big change before. Big plans, big goals, big promises to yourself. Tomorrow, I'll start eating better. This week, I'll finally get consistent. Next Monday, everything changes. But life doesn't wait for your perfect plan. Work gets busy, stress builds, energy disappears, and suddenly the routine you promised yourself feels impossible to maintain. So you fall off. And when you fall off, you don't just lose the habit, you lose confidence in yourself. You start thinking, why can't I stay consistent like other people? But here's the truth, most people never hear. It's not because you're lazy, it's not because you lack discipline, it's because your brain is wired to reject drastic change. Your brain is designed to protect you. When you introduce massive change, your brain interprets it as a threat. It panics, it resists, it looks for comfort and familiarity. That's why extreme routines collapse. That's why motivation fades. That's why all or nothing thinking fails. Not because you're weak, but because the method is wrong. And this is where a completely different approach comes in. There's a philosophy that solves this problem by working with your brain instead of against it. It's called Kaizen, and it's built on one simple idea. Don't change your entire life. Change 1% of it, today. But there's something most people misunderstand about Kaizen, and this misunderstanding quietly destroys consistency. We'll come back to that in a moment. Kaizen works because 1% is safe. 1% doesn't scare you. It doesn't trigger resistance. It doesn't activate that inner voice that says, this is too much. Your brain hears 1% and thinks, this is easy. I can do this. And when something feels easy, you don't procrastinate it. You don't negotiate with yourself. You simply do it. That's how tiny improvements begin stacking, quietly, silently, day after day. Nothing dramatic, nothing extreme. But over time, you become someone new. Kaizen isn't about doing less forever. It's about starting small enough that action becomes automatic. If you want to read, read 1 page. If you want to move more, stretch for 1 minute. If you want to meditate, take 1 mindful breath. If you want to improve your diet, add 1 healthy bite. If you want to wake up earlier, move your alarm 2 minutes back. If you want a cleaner home, clear 1 object, not the whole room. Small enough to finish, small enough that excuses disappear. Because when the action feels harmless, resistance disappears. And this is where something powerful happens. You think you only drank a glass of water, but you taught your brain that you care about your health. You think you read a single page, but you became a reader. You think you walked for 2 minutes, but you reminded yourself that your body is designed to move. These are micro actions, but they create micro wins. Micro wins build confidence. Confidence shapes identity, and identity is what creates real consistency. You don't force habits when they become part of who you are. Here is the simple Kaizen routine you follow every day. No motivation needed, no stress, no perfection. Step 1. Choose 1 area to improve. Just 1. Focus creates transformation. Step 2. Identify your 1% action. Ask yourself, what is the smallest possible action that moves me forward? If it feels too easy, it's perfect. Step 3. Place a visual cue. Water by your bed, a book on your pillow, shoes by the door, a journal on your desk. Let your environment guide you. Step 4. Do it and stop. You don't need to exceed it. You don't need to push harder. The goal is repetition, not intensity. Step 5. Celebrate the win. A checkmark, a quiet nod, a moment of awareness that you showed up. These small rewards tell your brain, this matters. Repeat it. Now here's the mistake that ruins Kaizen for most people. When they feel good, they do more. They turn 1% into 20 minutes, 1 page into a full chapter, 1 stretch into a full workout. And that's how resistance returns. Kaizen only works when you stop at the smallest action, even on good days, especially on good days. That's what keeps the habit alive. And yes, you will slip. You'll miss days, you'll feel tired, you'll lose momentum. But Kaizen teaches something powerful. The slip isn't the problem. The silence afterward is. When you miss a day, you return with the smallest possible action, not restarting perfectly, not catching up, just returning. That's how resilience is built. And resilience creates transformation. At some point, usually when you're not noticing, consistency becomes natural. You don't negotiate with yourself. You don't argue in your mind. You don't force discipline. You simply show up. People will ask you, how are you so consistent? How do you stay disciplined? How do you make progress every day? And you'll realize it's because you stopped trying to be extraordinary. You focused on becoming slightly better, 1% at a time. You don't need a miracle transformation. You don't need the perfect moment. You don't need to rebuild your life in a single week. You just need to choose your 1% action for tomorrow morning. Something so small you can't fail. Something so simple that resistance disappears. So tell me in the comments, what is the smallest improvement you'll start tomorrow? Not the full plan, not the dramatic goal, just the first tiny step. One small step at a time. That's how you change your whole life.